Still we wait and wonder at this woman who is our mother.
She persevered, graduating with a teaching.
It was to a widowed mother and two sisters.
The one who set us on our travels.
The strongest influence in my life is the person I honor with this trip.
From the beginning, my history is a history of
12
women.
in 1900, and already longing
Mom
to be...
loved Kansas, especially the wide open spaces.
Grandmother was my mother's mother, and partly my mother. She was elected head of the music department at Oklahoma State.
She was always there for me.
She was truly my guiding light.
I hope someday just like
First woman graduate in my family.
I only want good things to come her way, though I know it's not. She is already a heroine.
I have to tell you, when the idea was first brought up to me, my question was, it is such a big undertaking. How can women's studies do this alone? Shouldn't it be other parts of the university participating in it as well? Because it's a project that goes beyond a department. And the real answer was, well, this is the group that has bought into it. They do have the community council and the board. I guess I was so excited by the idea of doing it here that I thought, yes, we could do it, and we'll just go along and see how it goes from there.
I really was not enamored with it. I thought it sounded like a great idea, but a plan that was bigger than I thought this community council board could handle. How in the world could we handle something this big? And as president of the board, going on my second term as president, I was feeling a little overwhelmed that this would just create more responsibility for me and on the backs of the few I thought that were doing a lot of the hard work at the time.
Well, of course, I had no idea how large a project it was going to be. I had no idea how much work it was going to take. But I loved the concept right away. I just thought it would be a wonderful thing for the campus and for Wichita. And as a project, it seemed to me that it would be a wonderful project for the board to be working on.
I am the chair of the campaign, and I guess I see it in real simple terms as keeping the project moving along, keeping it organizationally moving, and doing my best to keep the enthusiasm level up.
The board, this is their main project, and then we created also a central committee of the Plaza of Heroines, and then we've expanded it to bring in other women on the central committee. So basically, including the board, we have a good 40 women, 45 women working on this project.
Marty and I met individually with one person after another that we wanted to be the leaders of the various teams. And I think that the tone of the campaign was set that day in that everybody immediately signed on.
One of the things that happened, I think, was that we were not only committed to the project, but we were committed to the consensus part of it. There were conflicts, there were a number of conflicts, but we worked through that, and we didn't want anybody to walk away. Not because, I mean, clearly we didn't want anybody to walk away because we wanted them to work on the project, but we also wanted people to know that their input was important, to keep their enthusiasm. So people's opinions were very much respected and brought into any decision that we made.
With a project like this, you know, the whole issue is volunteerism, and will people keep it happening? We've been really fortunate from the beginning because I can't remember ever being let down by anybody in that respect.
I thought it would be extremely labor intensive, but then my notion of fundraising for feminism has always been one of inclusion. When we first started our fundraising on the community council, people said, well, find a few big donors. And that, of course, is the way an androcentric group would try to raise money. This is a much better strategy. For one thing, it involves a lot of people in making a lot of contact throughout the community. It will continue to develop connections for years to come. So it's an excellent model of infusing feminism into all areas of the university and the community.
The Plaza of Heroines is, first of all, a fundraising project. Through it, the Center for Women's Studies will gain support for graduate and undergraduate scholarships, along with support for community programming. But the Plaza is more than that. It's a gift to the university and the community, an addition to the beauty of Wichita State, a way to enhance the presence of Wichita State within our broader community. Most important, it's a way of honoring the contributions of women in all our lives. When we speak of heroines here, we mean more than the best-known figures, the Joan of Arc and Clara Barton figures. A heroine in the broad sense is any woman who is admired and emulated for her achievements and qualities. Beginning today, we are inviting individuals, families, associations, and organizations, regardless of affiliation with WSU, to pay tribute here to the women, living or deceased, whom they wish to recognize as heroines. The plaza itself will replace the circular area of brick just outside these doors and the entire brick area surrounded by sidewalks. Women's names will be engraved on the bricks, granite paving stones, and benches that make up the plaza. Visitors to the plaza will see women's pictures and read their stories on a touch-screen computer. Our ability to achieve this design will depend on our success in fundraising, but we do pledge to create a work of beauty in this plaza. When I think of it, I see a place potent with names and stories, a place made strong by the spirit of those honored within.
Can't you just visualize all the bricks laid out here representing women from all walks of life? It will be like a patchwork of sorts, made up of mothers, teachers, doctors, lawyers, other professional women, daughters, role models, wives, grandmothers. I just can't wait to see it myself.
You know, we live with heroines every day. Sometimes we don't recognize the special women in our lives as heroic until it's too late. The plaza gives me, and all of us for that matter, an opportunity to honor our own special heroines, only to do it publicly and in a place of perpetuity. The influence of women, you know, as leaders or behind the scenes, as most of us know are women, is profound. It's immeasurable, and it is often unheralded, isn't it? Yet their words and their actions influence generation after generation after generation. Thank you.
I think it went very well. I was really pleased with the crowd, pleased with the kind of vibrations that I was getting back from them. It was just a room full of love, it felt like.
I'm thrilled. I think we had a good turnout. We had a lot of people who are visible in the community, and all 3 TV stations and more. Radio. I'm very pleased.
There you go.
campaign is kicked off to remember women who've made a difference. It's called the Plaza of Heroines. It's a chance for people to honor women who have played a significant role in their lives, maybe a mother, friend, teacher, co-anchor. The plaza will be made of bricks, granite pavers, and benches. The circular area will be near Clinton Hall. The price goes from $100 for a personalized brick to $10,000 for a whole bench. I'll get a little rock.
Start writing your check.
All right, $100.
My mother had to quit school in the 8th grade and go to work for her father, keeping the books in his business. At the age of 17, she married my father. It wasn't a very happy marriage, unfortunately, but she stayed in there because of us children. I have a brother, Bob, and a sister, Jeanette, so she had 3 children just right away and weathered the storm. Mom was an entrepreneur. She devoted herself to trying to build a business. My father was there, but not really committed to working as such. So she took over and did what was necessary. She was very extremely proud of her Lebanese heritage. She speaks fluent Arabic and in fact started a little Arabic language school just for the younger children, and did that for 3 or 4 years. She has always been one to emphasize education. It was very important to her. She was extremely proud of my brother attaining Attorney General of the state of Kansas. You know, that to her was the ultimate. The women should be honored. They're the ones that raised us. They're the ones that sacrificed so much. I just think it's wonderful. On the university campus forever. I mean, it's just going to be there that even my great-grandchildren will walk the campus and say, hey, that's my family or relative, you know. So it's nice.
Where we stood originally. Now at the end of 6 months, we're almost 1/3 that way. If we kept up this same level of giving, a year from now, we would reach that goal. We do have our work cut out for us.
Opportunity is here for us, and it's going to be a very short window of opportunity. And so many times the fate of women has been in the hands of other people, employers, institutions, governments, whatever. This is an opportunity where everything is in our hands. We're either going to make it or break it. What an affirmation it will be of each other and of the things that we value in each other. And what a recording of history it will be for future generations to say, you know, this is who we are and this is what we value. I just want you to not let a day go by that you haven't given some thought to how you can enhance that Plaza of Heroines. You know, we have really done a great job so far, but I think we have a long way to go.
I was a new development director to WSU and of course was, you know, eager to try new ideas. This was a very exciting concept to me. It sent chills up my back because I could think of not only being a tool to raise money, but that it would honor women.
It's an opportunity to honor women and raise money for women's studies students all at the same time.
I think my role was to pick up the vision and sell it to the community council, to the administration, to set a strong volunteer group into motion, and then to step back and let them run with it, which is exactly what happened. and then offer the support that they needed with fundraising techniques, with our database, with our staff. We have had moments when we have disagreed, but that has been also part of the reward, seeing them work through those disagreements and come up with consensus. When we started out, I think we all would have liked to have just had bricks, but it was not particularly a good idea for raising a lot of money, you know, $100 at a time.
There is certainly sort of a hierarchy in the fact that you can buy from a $10,000 bench to a $100 brick.
We wanted an opportunity for everyone to participate, and frankly, we were concerned about criticism from the long-term feminist community, that we were setting up something that was elitist.
It was a practical decision to have pavers and benches.
But what we didn't want to do is we didn't want to exclude anybody. So whether you put in $100 or $10,000, you still have access to putting a picture in the computer, putting a history in the computer.
There was a struggle over the lowest range.
The smaller people just don't have it. The big people have it. It's interesting. In this community, you can say, well, it's $100. And some people just, I don't know, Bonnie. And some people, $100 is like buying a hamburger.
10,000s went fast, and those kind of things went fast, but those people have money.
But in this situation, if $100 was a lot of money, several people could go together.
If it's a family and they want to do it for their mother and there's 3 or 4 kids in the family, it's only $25.
It's like I said in board meeting one time, and I wasn't trying to be funny, I was serious. I said, these guys are nuts. I mean, for $100, think of the mileage they would get for that.
We've had great participation at the highest levels, the 2 different benches, the 2 different granite pavers. And I tend to think that we might have had that sort of ground level support that we really wanted for the bricks if we had priced them a little bit lower. But we're doing okay, you know.
Seeing is believing. And I really think as people start to see and become more familiar with it, they'll overcome that and they'll really start to sell those smaller bricks, and more people will want to become a part of it.
The idea of having a bench to honor someone in the middle of the Wichita State University campus meant a lot to longtime supporters of the university, and I think that's one of the reasons why the benches went quicker than we thought, because we hadn't thought about that aspect.
This was an incredible model of a great concept, a very strong volunteer structure, and a dedicated faculty and department. And those 3 things together is what truly made it a success. So many times we have said, God is a woman and she loves this project.
Margaret Ann and Jean Hughes were quite strongly supportive of this whole project, and that was their contribution to helping us get it off the ground and really rolling. And we had a lovely group that came, and the Hugheses wanted it to be a part of their support for the project.
You think about really, truly the unsung heroines in this world, and if you look back to all of your education and the education of every person who's had any success, probably 75 to 90% of those people, especially from elementary on, were women teachers. So think about some of the teachers who made an impact in your life. You know, be really broad in your thinking, and don't just stop with mothers. And this is just a time to really acknowledge them in a beautiful way.
Everybody has a different connotation of what a heroine is, from a senator to, you know, grandmother. And I think that's the beauty of this whole plaza. Fundraising is fundraising, and it goes to good projects and programs, of course. But this has a flavor that's different than other things that I have done. It's something for the next generations to review and to be proud of the things that we have done. Our heroines are remembered, and I think that's what I love the most.
Dorothy graduated from Sterling College, all on fire to be a journalist. She got the job at the Wichita Eagle and Beacon, and she was the first woman editorial writer the Eagle had ever hired. She was a very strong feminist, past president of National Organization for Women, the local chapter. Those kind of causes led her to file a gender wage disparity suit against her employer. This was not a fight that she was making all by herself as far as, you know, what might have gone on across the country. It was certainly a fight she was alone on at the Eagle. She won her lawsuit on wage parity the first time around, but lost it on appeal. And she did pay a heavy price for that. She eventually was put over in the entertainment section and wrote entertainment columns. She loved it, though. I never remember hearing her complain.
No. She was a remarkable person in my life, and actually at a time when I was really questioning whether I wanted to go to journalism, really kept me on track.
I would say integrity was the thing that struck me the most about her, but also, you know, I did have a tremendous respect for her writing. Her readers were important to her, and she felt a tremendous responsibility to them to deliver information that was honest and was what they needed.
My first thought to honor a woman in my life would be Dorothy, somebody who had really had an influence on my life. And I didn't feel like I could do it alone because, again, when I think of Dorothy, I think about the impact she's had on a lot of women in this field and in this community. And then when she died, I'm afraid it really came to a realization that this was the time to do it in honor of her life.
It was a tremendous opportunity to recognize someone who deserved to be recognized.
There were 3 of us on the Histories Committee, Sarah Bagby, Dorothy Miller, and myself, and we met on a regular basis to try and develop what we wanted this database of histories to look like.
We had to have a kiosk at the site from which you could access only the plaza, only the histories of the women that are honored. And then we also had to have a website.
We expanded it to the internet, and that's a really special part of it because it makes the availability of the information worldwide to anyone that has access to the internet. So for someone that wants to look up someone that they know is honored in the plaza, they can do that from virtually anywhere in the world and not only see the information about that person, but everyone else in the plaza, and even see a panoramic view of the plaza, so it would be as if they were right there.
People would not only be able to have a name carved in stone, but also to have their words about this woman on the computer base, to write the woman's history, to talk about why she was important, and to talk about why she was important to them. Also, for the heroines themselves, this has meant a whole lot. Not only the fact that it's on the computer, but people went to their heroines and said, "This is what you mean to me."
The biggest obstacle has been with the challenges and the changing technology, being on the cutting edge of new technology and testing the limits, being able to speak with the people who are programming the computer and know that we were all talking about the same thing.
You know, we had the vision and we wanted to come to as close to that vision as we could.
They tested our ability to really focus in on what we wanted the final product to be. And what we wanted that to be was access to histories, easy access to histories and information about women.
A particular interest of mine has been to help people write the biographies, because the archive of women is going to be an extremely important aspect of this. So I've been giving programs and holding workshops and tutoring individuals to get their biographies of their great and notable women written. I've always been interested in narratives of women's lives in diaries and that kind of thing. And so I'm particularly interested in seeing that we gather really extensive biographies on women.
The thoughts expressed and the feelings expressed are unique to everybody. Some people are very emotional, some have just provided biographical information, some have written poems. So it's been really a wonderful experience to see how people expressed their admiration or love or feelings for the people or the person that they honored.
We knew pretty early on that there would be some people who would be supporting this project who knew nothing about women's studies and perhaps didn't even care about women's studies. And that was tricky because we were not willing to hide the fact that we were feminists, that we teach about feminism and women's issues and lesbians and abortion and all kinds of stuff, and that this is, we don't apologize for that, and we advertise this. But at the same time, the advertising focused the purpose of the project, which was to honor women. Our long-term feminist activist supporters from the community continued to support us in doing this. And so that was almost like a check and balance for us to see whether we were doing this in a way that was not apologetic or hiding our politics.
I guess I wanted to see what would happen when everyday women were honored in a public way in Granite. What would happen to their self-esteem, if it would feel good or if they'd be embarrassed or feel too vulnerable, or, you know, what the deal would be there. But I thought it would be good, at the very least, to say that people who heard about the plaza would go, oh gosh, I never thought about honoring her. And then the next question ought to be, well, I wonder why I never thought about honoring her. And maybe a feminist lesson to be learned in that anyway.
When somebody comes up to me and says, I've always wanted to honor this person in my life and I never knew how to do it, and now you've given me that opportunity, that warms my heart. That makes me feel like we've done more than just provide scholarships. We've created something that's bigger than we ever even imagined from the get-go.
Certainly it has served the purpose of raising a lot of money for women's studies, and I think that's been wonderful. And if it were that alone, that would be good enough. I'm devoted to women's studies, and we're going to use the money well. But it has grown, and I think it has given people something very important in return for their money.
My real father died when I was 4 years old, and then I had an aunt and an uncle that helped raise me till I was 12 years old, and then I was pretty much on my own. And I just always said, if I ever have children, you know, I want to raise them the right way.
I tell her all the time that I wouldn't trade my childhood for anything in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You weren't embarrassed to bring your friends around?
Yeah.
She was very open and honest about boys and relationships. I mean, there wasn't anything that we missed.
Mom is one of those folks who make you trust yourself because she puts trust in you.
She's such a mother extraordinaire. We don't know we could ever reach that level.
Whatever we need, she's always there for us. She always has that listening ear. Because of that, we're strong women and mothers ourselves.
Jesus says we'll be overcomers. And that's what she is to me, is an overcomer. Somebody who's overcome so many different things. And when you overcome, you're always looking for a new challenge.
First of all, I want you to write your name at the top.
My son-in-law asked me if I would come down and mentor some of the children. You know, they come from all walks of life, and sometimes all they need is a hug. I am so committed to this program because, you know, we talk a lot about it takes a village. We need to make it come alive.
She's just really a fantastic woman, and I don't know very many people who can role model the behavior that they teach, but she does that.
Mama's pretty much the best. She's just tops.
My heart just swelled that my children would think enough of me to buy a brick with my name on it that will be there for history, be there for years.
I just could not wait to see her face when she would look down and see her name.
This was just one place that you can continuously go back and revisit while they're still here.
My children think I'm a heroine, and I am so proud and so blessed and so loved. And the greatest thing in life is love.
Cadete Christus est natus, ex Maria Virgine cadete. Cadete Christus est natus, ex Maria Virgine cadete.
Tempus aret gratiae, hoquar optabamus, carmina letitiae, devotere damus.
Cadete Christus est natus, ex Maria Virgine cadete.
I've worn a lot of hats in this project. A primary role has been
co-chairing the marketing and publications team with Janet Lloyd Williams. The challenge of this project is that it's open to anyone. So that means everyone is a target audience.
The mission of working on any project that has community attached to it says that we must look at the community as a whole. I think our strategies in marketing and publicity always had those things in mind.
We've used direct mail, ads, interviews on TV. The newspaper has done news articles. We've had hand-delivered special items to the local media, helped promote a musical concert that brought in a new, diverse audience for us. And lots of printed pieces and lots of press releases.
They always had something really cute and unique to get your attention. I still have my shovel, you know, and my brick. My brick as it was something I felt worth keeping.
The thing that was so fun about receiving an object is you put it on your desk and it reminded you that that was a project that needed to be dealt with.
Why am I on camera getting this brick on top of that? That was a different touch too. I don't think you'll ever forget that one. That one's a first.
It is important, no matter how wonderful a project is, if people don't know about it, it's not going to come together the way you want it to.
And our paper is one that represents the African American community, so I have undertaken to present the project as an option to them to commemorate African American women. Starting originally with the kickoff, we ran a story on Maxine Walters and the fact that her son, Professor Ron Walters, was honoring her. So that was our initial, and that, again, that it wasn't just for standouts. It wasn't for those exceptional women in the community. It was just for everyday women in the community, and that's something we've tried to communicate on an ongoing basis.
I wanted to be helpful in getting things in the newspaper so that readers of the Wichita Eagle would be aware of the project, and they were right there ready to help me any way they could. The Mother's Day story that I wrote, instead of me having to go through stacks and stacks of information that people had sent in about the women they were honoring, that was done for us. And then I chose from a much, much smaller number.
Everything was always first class too. Everything looked great.
I have never been involved in a project that involved, I guess, all women, number one, and number two, been able to come away from a meeting and know that we have reached consensus. Everybody took the role of being involved in this project very seriously. It was treated as if it were something that we needed to do, and therefore nobody strayed.
This is set right where everything else is going to be set. The benches are going to be out here. The pedestal is going to be here in the center. 7-foot round pedestal for the statue. We're starting out with a 7'6" radius here. It grows until it gets around over here to a 9'7". This matches up with the brick. And the brick pavers will follow that same contour right on around, which is basically, this makes it a spiral.
Lee, in all your calculations, have you estimated yet about how many bricks we actually can get in here now with this form?
No, but I can.
It'd be good to know.
Okay.
And in the construction drawings that Roger and Gary have done now, have they inserted the medium and large paper arcs?
No.
They need to put those in.
The lights down here. So that's going to be the actual size of the actual bench. Just like they're cut here. These are the 4-foot benches. And
is that's the actual height? No.
No.
This one is.
Here's the actual height. Here's the center.
Better, much better.
We probably sold this one.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure that's 200. Yeah.
Wow, it's crazy.
It is neat. I didn't think it would be. They said it'd be primitive, but I didn't think it'd be even this. I thought it would be more primitive than.
Well, and what did she tell you about this? How the premium pavers are spiral? That's what that is.
Oh, so it's a
in which this campaign has been underway, it's been clear how deeply this plaza has captured people's hearts. I've witnessed that heartfelt commitment to the project by the many women and men who have steadfastly gone the extra mile to make this plaza a success. By the first of this March, more than 500 donors had acted to honor more than 400 heroines. That translates into a campaign total of $300,000 in pledges received to date, equal to 80% of our overall goal. We never expected that at this time all 31 of the benches in the plaza would be spoken for, but that is the case.
I often talk about the metropolitan advantage, how important the university is to the community, and how vital, in turn, the community is to Wichita State University. This effort, the Plaza of Heroines, would not be where it is today if not for the direction that the Center for Women's Studies Community Council has provided. I would also like to give special thanks to Joan Barron, a member of that council, and a member of our Board of Trustees, who donated specifically to assist with the construction of the plaza. And Joan, again, thank you so much.
It is very satisfying and it is very meaningful for me to participate in this ceremony, which will initiate an ongoing celebration of women who have touched our lives beyond the ordinary by their accomplishments, their generosity, their courage. The central event, the exhilarating accomplishment we are seeing in our day, is the beginning of an irreversible and unstoppable emancipation of a full half of humankind from its position through most of known human history of subordination and suppression and marginalization. Finally, we're witnessing the recognition of women as entirely equal partners in the stewardship of this world, with no specific roles assigned to us, so that our wills and our spirits are given their natural right to roam freely and unrestrictedly among the rich and varied possibilities that existence permits. The Plaza of Heroines to stand vis-a-vis the Plaza of Heroes etched in history is a symbol of the hope of our time that humanity can change not only in what it unravels and controls of the mysteries of the material world, but along with it can change its fundamental perception of itself. Women, too, are heroes, in the virile, full meaning of that word. And I am glad to participate in this symbolic enterprise that makes these ideas and feelings concrete in concrete.
Those who will wield the shovels today as we break ground or shovel some mud will be President Hughes, my hubby, Dean Glenn Lewin, Professor Merriman, Professor Miller, and standing in for Board President Marty Amar will be Nita Mark and myself. We've got some hardy souls who have agreed to be umbrella wielders for us. If we're ready to go, President Hughes, would you please lead the way and we'll all just follow you at our own pace?
If
thought it went marvelously, and I particularly believe that Dr. Merriman said what we would all like to have said, and we're all thinking. So I'm really excited about it and anxious for September to come, a sunny day to dedicate the plaza.
She had a strong will when she was born, and that was evidenced all through her childhood. She's had some opportunities and some challenges, and she's been able to overcome a lot of things, I think.
I think I was really responsible at an early age because I had to be, especially being an only child. I didn't have anybody to help out with cleaning the house, and I cooked for my parents because they weren't home. I think it had a big impact. I had to grow up pretty fast.
In '78, so she would have been about 8, 9 years old, we started back to school at night. And so when you're little like that, you learn to be independent and take care of yourself a lot. Rather than being the center of attention, she really missed out on a lot, I think.
I was getting married the summer that I graduated from high school.
She graduated from high school and got married, had 2 children, and went to school. And found out how hard college could really be.
They were not happy. I have a daughter that's 10, Stephanie, and a daughter that's 8, Jacqueline. I really had always wanted to finish college, and maybe because my parents went to school, and so my husband convinced me to quit working, and I quit working and went back to school full time.
She graduated with a degree in elementary education. She graduated magna cum laude, which for a kid who didn't want to make good grades is outstanding.
And I have a job finally, so.
She just has really turned out to be a wonderful, wonderful person.
She went to impress the kids and show them this Plaza of Heroines and what girls can do. And I just kind of went over to where it was.
I looked at it and I thought, well, no, that's not for me. You know, I mean, somebody else has the same name. Isn't that weird? Even when I was in high school and my parents and I didn't get along, I always wanted to please them. And when I got married young, I knew that didn't please them. And to me, that was like the signal from them that I was okay.
We wanted to recognize what she had done.
Well, my role in the project to begin with was being a part of the Speakers Bureau, which our primary function was to get the word out about the plaza. We basically would make arrangements for people to speak to groups. People were excited about it from the moment you told them what we were doing. I knew this project was going to be very labor intensive, but it's one of those things where if people are involved in it and are very excited about the project, they don't mind. It's just been one of those dream boards that you have fun as well as get a lot of work done. The only objections that I've really heard about is from people who have a view that why aren't there any men in it?
There were a few grumblings about, you know, why is this only for women?
Why do you only have women? I said, well, that's why they call it the Plaza of Heroines and not Plaza of Heroes.
People would say, well, what about men? As though if you did anything for women, you were doing something against men, or you were somehow depriving men of their recognition.
Do you know, I feel like if it were maybe 2 centuries from now, or maybe another 1,000 years, or however long it's going to take, then that argument would work. But for now, we have to do what we can to bring women into the public eye. We have to show people what women have done and who they are, and give them the credit they deserve. And if that means setting aside a place for women, then that's what that means.
You just say, well, I'm sorry. It's not for men, it's for women.
Actually, my main role is chair of the Brick Committee and a member of the Central Committee that met on a regular basis, a very regular basis. That was pretty busy early on because we went out and began looking for the actual brick to be used, getting quotes on the granite pavers, checking into different types of pavers, different types of benches, working with suppliers and beginning first of all to narrow down who the suppliers were going to be, and then getting agreements with them and pricing and all that. There were a few obstacles. One that I remember that we overcame quickly was we were meeting with the university architect and plant facilities people, along with the Central Committee, and the fellows said that there was already a major problem, that the particular location that we had selected was the only way for the fire trucks to get from one side of the campus to the other. The sidewalks were reinforced, 15 feet wide, and they just sort of laid that on us in the middle of this meeting. Well, that'll never do. We just kind of sat there and said, well, what are you guys going to do about that? How are you going to make that work? And they said, well, I guess we'll have to meet with the fire department, see if there's something else that can happen. We said, okay, that sounds good. Let us know how that goes. Basically, they met with them, figured out another way to do things, and it was a go again. But for a while there, it looked like it was a complete halt. For me, the plaza is a concrete way to honor women and also to raise the funds for scholarships, which is very important. I'd love to see it happen nationwide, that every city has a Plaza of Heroines so that they can honor people all over the world. I think that'd be wonderful.
I was just sure that if we were working even with a very small team to begin with, that with this huge board that we had to get to buy into it, and basically the top levels of the administration of the university to buy into it, that we would never select a piece of sculpture.
You know, we thought it was going to be just tearing hair out to get the right look, the right, you know, out of all the sculpture in the world by women, what in the world are we going to be able to get? What can we afford?
The piece landed on campus. Joan Barron, who led the sculpture team, recognized this one as the one, and it was really an easy sell for her.
The sculpture that we finally chose was suggested very early on, and everybody liked it. And we all kind of looked at each other and said, do you like it? Yeah, I like it. Do you like it? Yeah, I like it. Everybody liked it, and the president liked it. The other thing that we really were committed to was to have a woman sculptor. And so we ended up with this wonderful Spanish dancer, Sofia Vari, and it was truly marvelous.
I had been a great emotion when I arrived here. I didn't expect such much harmony, beauty, and it's wonderful. I mean, it's wonderful. I think for an artist, it can't be more emotion to have one of his pieces that is built a plaza around it. I mean, and also the Plaza of Heroines, that being me, myself, a woman. So I feel very honored and a great emotion.
When I came out here from Virginia to WU, I was 31 and she was 19, and in the journalism department.
I first met her late 1970s. I was editor of alumni publications at Wichita State, and she came in as interim director of the Alumni Association, and she'd had a background in journalism is what her degree was in, so we sort of hit it off. And we were publishing Alumni Report, which was a bi-monthly tabloid that went to all alumni. We actually started a magazine and worked on it together, and it was very well received. I think that was her first salaried professional position. She had been a professional volunteer while she raised her children. She was an excellent boss and mentor. So overall for me it was a great work experience. She had the opportunity to go to the Girl Scouts and be director there, where directly or indirectly she was able to help hundreds of other young women. I think she was very effective in that role. When the Plaza of Heroines started, she made a contribution to start with in honor of her mother and spoke at the first press conference.
I had been honored, so I decided to honor Joanne.
She epitomized what women can do, like I said, in so many ways, professionally, personally. She meant a lot to a lot of people in the community. At her funeral, there were just, standing room only. All the people she had touched, church, family, Girl Scouts, WSU. I can't think of anyone probably more deserving.
She helped me to live a fuller life, a life at WSU, a life with Girl Scouts. She was a wonderful and kind friend to me.
Fire Circle by Anita Skeen. In our lives for centuries, bricks and stones, stacked together, they made a house we made into a home. Laid out around the fire a hearth, we made the heart of that home. Here, we make a circle of bricks, benches of granite, pavers of rock. Each bears a woman's name, each bears a woman's life. Lives touch in this circle, women who never met, never talked across a back fence, never exchanged recipes or code words, never signed petitions on neighboring lines. Missouri borders Florida, West Virginia's north of Canada. Kansas is still the center of everything. Chronology's gone out the window. Here, time is a circle of heartbeats. We come to this circumference to kindle the fire. We light the names with the sparks of our voices, sing the syllables into flame. We fan a prairie fire, the lives behind the names blazing again in love and protest, art and justice, nourishment and mystery. The tongues visible for miles, we warm our hearts beside this hearth.
The artist Judy Chicago once said,
We have made a space to house our spirit, to give form to our dreams. For those of us who are gathered here, this plaza is that space.
We are grateful for this space and for the many blessings that brought it to be.
We celebrate the lives of women here and everywhere and in every time.
We welcome all women and men to share in the joy and peace of this space.
May this place and its benefits enrich the community of scholars and artists.
May this place help generations to know and to understand.
May this place be of service to all who enter.
To all the heroines who are here with us today, in person, in thought, in memory, and in spirit, and in the making, we dedicate this space, the Plaza of Heroines at Wichita State University.
This concludes our dedication. Thank you for coming. Enjoy the day.